question for you, Nick.
Oh, gosh.
What is your favorite Christmas movie? No, wait a minute. Before I even finish the question, I want you to take a second to think about this question before you answer. I don't want you to blurt the answer out. I want you to take a few moments to really think in your mind.
Violent Night.
I didn't ask the question yet. I was simply asking, what is your favorite Christmas movie, not of last year, this is the part to think about, of all time?
Violent Night.
You really want to use that as your final answer? Of all time in the history of movies, there's been 1,000 bajillion, gazillion Christmas movies, classics up and down from the 80s, 90s, 2000s. That's really your answer, Violent Night from last year.
So, I will say, what it used to be Christmas Horror Story, okay?
What? That's an even worse answer.
I know, right? I know, huh?
That's in the bottom tier.
No, it is Violent Night.
All right, no. Let's get the bomb. We're going to entertain this notion that Violent Night. Now, listen, it's all subjective. We all have our favorite Christmas movies. For Nick,
what's yours?
Jack Frost. So
How fucking dare you.
I'm just playing. No. I have a more traditional answer. I mean, I'm a tie probably like Home Alone and the Santa Claus and all your, kind of a generic answer. Your answer is a lot more creative, but I would just say, I mean, it's been a year. You've seen the movie now how many times? 3 times? 4 times?
Today would be 5th.
Holy shit. Okay, well, never mind then. Okay, I was gonna say, if you've seen the movie under 3 times, it's hard to place to the top of any category. But I think if you've seen it more than 3 times, then your answer does have some merit to it.
So, guess what?
I still don't agree with it, but it has merit.
So, I will say this. I don't know if you remember, but last year, when I saw this movie one time, I literally said it has reached the top of my list for Christmas movies.
Yeah, but Nick, I got to say, you are the king of the coming out of the movie theater and having a massive overreaction after one viewing. I would give you a Night House, Scream 5. These are movies that Nick walked out of the theater and I get a message on my phone. Best Scream movie. Best 4-star movie for Night House. You're the king of overreactions. That's why when you come to me with Violent Night is the best, it's hard for me to take it seriously until you have repeated viewings.
First of all, I know I did not say Scream 5 was the best.
I
said it was better than fucking 4.
No, right out the theater.
Pretty sure I said it was better as the second best in my opinion. I mean, literally, it's my ranking for Scream is Scream 1, Scream 5, and Scream 2.
Scream 4 is better.
No.
Well, listen.
Scream 4 is at the bottom.
Oh, my goodness. This is where we're getting. Yeah, it's even below 3 for you?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
It's below 6 for me, too.
Man.
Granted, Scream 3 is above 6, so.
I apologize to Emma Roberts, one of my favorite Scream actresses.
You just like her because she's pretty.
That's not why I like her. I like her because Jill was an amazing Ghostface. Almost won, too, damn it.
She was only Ghostface for like a second throughout the whole movie.
Well, she was smart to be the mastermind and not the brute force who could be like traced back to all the killings through DNA.
Can we mention
forensics.
that the brute force of that was Macaulay Culkin's little brother?
Hey, that dude's a big time actor now. There's a show called Succession, and this man's like winning Emmys and like it's a huge show. So
Never heard of it.
What? All right, well, listen, that's prestige television, sir. Way above the likes of Supernatural.
Supernatural is the best TV show in the world.
Is it the best show, or is it like 5? Or is it 5 good seasons with like 10 seasons, admittedly from you, that were mediocre?
That's besides the point.
if 60% of the show is mediocre, how good must those damn 5 seasons be to hold it up to that pedestal?
First of all, seasons 6 and 7 were pretty mediocre. It started picking back up at 8. Honestly, I can't. I have to admit, 8 I think was the last season I watched fully.
What?
I never actually finished the series.
Well,
I know what happens.
This is your favorite TV show of all time,
and I even have the seasons.
And you can't even bring yourself to watch it. Oh,
you know what's even worse? I have all the seasons of True Blood. Still haven't watched the final.
I've watched any of that. And I'm a vampire fan, so that's pretty sad.
Speaking of vampires.
Next month is Vampire Month. Now, I want to send a special thanks out to everybody who voted in our poll for Vampire Month. We heard you. We listened to you. Lost Boys definitely on the menu. All those movies in the poll will actually be on the menu because it's one of those months where we figured we can actually do 5 episodes. That means for all you vampire fans and you actual vampires, I know some of you out there probably are creatures of the night. For you folks who like vampire movies, next month is your month. And join us as we celebrate vampires. Although, don't take it too far. Don't actually go by anybody's neck. Don't go buy a coffin. Those things are expensive. I've seen them on Amazon.
First off,
what?
There is a lot of people who actually get off on being bitten.
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, if that's your idea of foreplay, you and your partner do what you like, whatever floats your boat.
Exactly.
I'm talking the variety of going out into the middle of the night and looking for blood to suck.
I mean, again...
What? Don't do it. I'm moving on. All right? Your late night cravings, go in the kitchen, get some brownies, get something in your refrigerator. Do not go out into the night. Let's move on from that. All right. Now, so Violent Night came out in 2022.
Yes.
And Nick, of course, saw it in theaters.
Yes.
I saw it for the first time on Peacock. It came on a Peacock pretty quickly after the theatrical release. So this is time during the pandemic where a lot of movies were coming straight to streaming alongside with the movie theater. So my first view of it, I felt pretty good about it. I do love that this movie is a buffet-style smorgasbord of old Christmas movies. So it has a little bit of Home Alone, a little bit of Die Hard, a little bit of Bad Santa.
A little bit of Home Alone?
A lot of Home Alone, a lot of Die Hard, even some Die Hard 2. So the movie does... If you are a fan of Christmas movies, you get something out of this because it has a lot of nods, a lot of homages to Christmas movies. It does a good job of kind of putting everything together. Favorite Christmas movie ever? No, sir, I can't do that, but we will honor it today. I want to start by talking about David Harbour. David Harbour. Have you followed his career prior to Violent Night?
So, honestly, before this movie, the only thing I've seen him in is not Stranger Things, because I still have yet to watch that show.
Did this make you want to watch Stranger Things?
No.
Really?
I don't know why. I like horror. I like the whole the concept behind Stranger Things. I just haven't brought myself to actually watch it yet.
Because he actually is, although he doesn't really... He's certainly not like an action star in Stranger Things. He does do some action-y type things. He's like one of the main protagonists. He has a large role. It's like a lot of times the storyline will be like the kids doing something and then he's off doing something with the adults. Probably most of you have seen the show.
But also at the same time, the only thing I've really seen David Harbour in at this point, at the time of watching Violent Night, and without even realizing it, was the Liam Neeson movie Tombstone.
Because there's a
Walk Among the Tombstones.
Yeah, because there's actually a good Western movie called Tombstone from the 90s.
Yeah,
like and then also there was a Hellboy.
Yeah, the Hellboy remake with Mila Jovovich.
Now, I never saw the original Hellboy movies, but it seems kind of weird they would remake it. Because the original was your boy Del Toro.
Yep, Del Toro. He made 1 and 2. I think originally he was slated to come for 3, but if I remember correctly, I think 2 actually bombed so bad that he didn't get the rights to, or the funding to make a 3rd one.
Well, the 3rd one bombed too, so I mean that's pretty much probably the end of that franchise, honestly.
No, they'll just remake it again.
I would say I'm definitely a big David Harbour fan now. Being that I have seen Stranger Things, I like him in that, and I like him in this. I'm glad he found something that I think even beyond Stranger Things will be maybe something he's remembered for, assuming they're going to be doing all these sequels and stuff too.
Yeah, because the sequel, if I remember correctly, is in talks. I don't think it's 100% confirmed yet. But I have heard, or at least some of the things I've read, is they are talking about it. They're trying to get the funding for it. They're just pretty much talking to the producers to see what they can get.
Well, this made $76 million worldwide on a $20 million budget. So
they over tripled their budget, almost quad.
Yeah, and the story leaves a lot of room for the sequel. I'd be very surprised if they don't go the sequel route. Now, there's certainly there's definitely a such thing as too much of a good thing. So it's not something where I would want to see like 4, 5, 6 movies. So I think you can get probably one great sequel out of it, though.
So to be fair, me personally, I'm in the boat of saying this movie doesn't need a sequel. I mean, because let's face it, if we go with a sequel, it's not going to be as good for the fact that in this movie, our Santa has to relearn pretty much how to fight.
Yeah.
Because he's been out of the game for, 1,100 plus years from fighting. So now he has to relearn it. So going to a sequel, he's now able to fight again. So the next people he goes up against, he's just going to mow right through them.
Not only that, but it's also like, what more can you... I mean, it's true. You have to stick with the whole Santa Christmas thing It's like, I don't know what more you can do with it. He already had his character arc in this movie.
So I personally have a theory what they could do, but it's not a sequel. It's a prequel.
Oh yeah, okay.
Or I'll give you Amelia's little thought of it. It's still technically a prequel, but Amelia's thing is she wants to see Trudy have like a whole Christmas store. It's been years later. Trudy has a Christmas store now. She's telling the story of what happened with her family.
Mm-hmm.
And then Santa comes up to her and tells her about how he became Santa. Pretty much going through his Viking age, what wars he's fought and all that.
Now, do you try to de-age David Harbour though, or do you just like let him be the same and he's telling his past, but it's still him, but he's older now?
I feel like it would probably best to just
did
go
Santa,
through whatever story.
Did Santa stop aging at a certain point and just that's always him?
So what I say they probably will do is it will be just him, because I'm assuming he's at his age now is pretty much what he was when he became Santa.
Right.
And I'm assuming he originally was killed in battle, judging by the fact if he was a Viking, one of their favorite things is to eventually die in battle.
See, I like the idea of them going into his past and all that, but my thing is like, is it no longer a Christmas movie then? How do you still tie that into Christmas?
Well, you're going to have to tie it into Christmas somehow because he becomes Santa Claus.
Maybe that's, yeah.
Because at the end...
Towards the end, but if you're going back into his Viking days, wouldn't it just be like a Viking movie then?
Yes and no. I mean...
Maybe if you're doing the wraparound where he's telling her the story on Christmas,
yeah,
maybe you can still tie it in.
Because you could do it that way, but I do have to say, if they decide to go a traditional sequel route, these events happened after the first movie, you definitely have to bring Mrs. Claus in.
Now, they asked David Harbour, like, who would you prefer to play Mrs. Claus? And he gave a good answer. He said Charlize Theron would be ideal because she's done action and she can fight. And
oh, fuck it. She'd be a great shield maiden.
I think they should 100%. I mean, she costs money for sure, but I would definitely go after her.
Well, let's also face it. He just wants to have a reason to have his arms wrapped around Charlize Theron.
Well, who wouldn't? So, he's a happily married man. I'm sure. I actually have no idea, but
I mean, I'm sorry. Who wouldn't want to hug Charlize Theron, treat her like his wife? You know, and I'm assuming Skull Crusher, the hammer he has, because I've actually read a little bit on. Because in this movie they show a ring on Santa's finger.
Right.
Being a Viking, I had to look it up. It's like, did Vikings still do rings to show marriage?
Mm-hmm.
I found out, yes, they do. The way it works is, yes, they both exchange rings, and most of the time, the woman would actually have a weapon made for her husband.
Okay.
So in this case, it could have been Skull Crusher, even though I think it's traditionally supposed to be a sword, but since his main weapon style is a hammer.
Okay. So you can sort of trace it back. So
he's not a fucking Viking.
Right.
He's usually I think he's always classified as he was originally a saint. Hence why one of his names is Saint Nick.
Yeah. And you have to get into why he became Santa Claus, because from how he is in the movie, it seems to me like he originally enjoyed the job, but by the time they start this movie, he's basically jaded because of kids are different these days and they're all about technology and they'd rather probably get an Amazon gift card than an actual gift. So like, I think he's kind of jaded about the job at this point, which means he's probably been doing it a long time. But I think at a certain point, obviously, even the way he reacts to what's her name, Trudy, the reacts to Trudy, it's like she brings him back into like, okay, this is why I took the job in the first place. So it doesn't strike me that he was like punished into the job, but I don't know.
I wouldn't say punished, but I do think there is a form of retribution that is going on. He's trying to redeem himself for
He killed so many people.
Well, he was a Viking. I'm pretty sure killing is the least of his crimes.
There was other Vikings though. I mean, is one of the Vikings had to be the Easter Bunny to make up for this? What's going on?
It's possible.
Oh my goodness.
But think about it. A Viking, they would have, if killing was the least of their problems, they would have killed, pillaged, including religious monuments, and churches and stuff, raped. I mean, list goes on. I guarantee you half of us are a product of Vikings running around.
Hey, buddy. There's no Vikings in my blood, all right? Now get out of here. Although I would like to be nice with a hammer that way. I could utilize that sledgehammer in that way. I'd pretty Feel pretty safe walking the streets of
I prefer a spear.
a spear.
Spear.
Okay.
I get longer reach.
All right, let's talk about outside David Harbour, the other stand on this movie for me.
John Leguizamo.
Amazing. I've always kind of I have a soft spot for Legusamo. I first saw him in the terrible original, but somewhat cult status Super Mario Brothers movie from the early 90s where he was playing Luigi.
Oh, gosh.
And then he just showed up in a bunch of different things in the 90s. He was in this movie called The Pest, which was cool. He's in
He's in The Happening.
I think he's in the Executive Decision movie with Steven Seagal and Kurt Russell. He's always been a good supporting actor, but lately I'm seeing him like really turn up and like he's in The Menu, he's in this.
He was real good in The Menu.
He's having a nice little career resurgence, renaissance, and I'm all for it. But this role is like, man,
This role definitely
fantastic.
shows off what this actor can do.
And it's funny because he's not even like, he's really, normally he plays like more comedic relief.
Yes.
He's funny, but he's not trying to be funny. It's just the way he's playing it all straight.
Yes.
Very serious. But man, I don't know, man. I was like, although it's hilarious how long he takes to finally acknowledge that something weird's going on. He has an explanation for like, okay,
Well, I mean,
this is all bullshit. This can't really be Santa Claus.
with everything you know, I mean, let's say you were in his shoes. Would you honestly believe that this is the Santa Claus and not just some guy dressed as Santa?
When he disappears up the fireplace, that would have been the first hint for me to be like, something terribly off is going on here. That was not something that a human being could do.
Well, he even said to the guys, like, look, we have a gopher, and this guy's a little strange. And then the girl, Kira's like, it's Santa Claus. He's like, shut the fuck up. Don't let your crazy show, because we don't want him to then turn around and leave. We kind of need this guy.
Yeah.
Let's face it, he's able to keep himself calm under pressure, which is funny, considering the fact the other two, Kira and Bjorn, are both apparently also used to be special forces, and yet they can't keep themselves calm under pressure.
Well, I was going to say the bad guys in this movie are mostly competent. For the most part, they're not like stupid henchmen. They're not like... We've seen much worse bad guys in terms of making stupid decisions. They're pretty competent. Nothing they do is like that illogical. I mean, they're facing a freaking Kung Fu Santa Claus, so I can't...
Viking Claus, get it right.
Viking Claus. I can't be mad for them losing to Viking Claus. I mean, now certainly... And also, this little girl is like the advanced version of a Home Alone mastermind. Jesus.
Oh, come on. First off, when I first watched this movie, I will say that even though John Leguizamo got himself a very small fight scene at the beginning where he takes out two people single-handedly.
Well, they want to establish him as like sort of a badass. Because when you see John Leguizamo, you're immediately like, to be honest, I felt this way too. It's like, can I take this guy serious as a villain? It's John Leguizamo. So they have to like put things in there to make you think, oh, well, he can handle himself.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, I still, even after seeing that, I was like, he's not going to be the final fight per se. I always assumed it was going to be David Harbour versus the actor that played Bjorn.
Yep.
The Russian dude, because let's face it, that's the more logical matchup at this point.
Well, his first couple of fight scenes, to me, are the best fight scenes.
When he's sitting there trying to relearn how to fight.
Because those dudes he's fighting, like, they are pretty badass and they know how to fight. So I feel like those probably have the most fight choreography, I would say.
Probably, but I be completely honest, my favorite fight scene is the fight with John Leguizamo.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's honestly because at this point, it's John Leguizamo's character showing different ways of he may be outmatched strength-wise,
right?
But he's still able to find ways to put it in his favor. Like in this fight, they're fighting on ice.
He's wearing the right shoes, baby.
He's wearing the damn cleats.
Yeah.
That keeps him stable, which is giving him an advantage over someone stronger than him.
Right.
And then there's also the fact that he damages David Harbour's character. He damages Santa Claus pretty quickly in the fight. He stabs him right in the ass and pulls him towards him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, That fight at the end, I would say that's a highlight. But for me, it's not about the fighting, though. It's just about the end of the fight because he gets hit with a damn Mortal Kombat fatality. I mean, that shit was like, I had to rewind and be like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Amazing. It was a great...
Let's just say this. Amelia has watched this movie now 4 times at this point. And every time she laughs at that death. She just loves it so much.
Well, the death, too, it tied together. The thing with Santa Claus's movie is that the key thing is belief. Like, apparently, and I read this, too, that they said, essentially, and it's there, like, everything is tied to belief. So his powers only work when he believes in them.
Which in this case, by the time when John Luke was, or when I'm calling him Jimmy because that's his character's name. When Jimmy finally realizes who he's actually up against, that belief is now giving Santa the power to be able to go through a decrepit chimney.
Which, unfortunately, is not going to work out well for a normal human being.
Yeah, no.
I think it's probably a quick death, though.
Probably, because I guarantee, even though we hear, like, it sounded like we heard screaming all the way through up, the minute he got sucked in, notice how his body just completely tacoed to go up?
Yeah.
He would have been dead right there.
It's a wrap at that point. Okay, so the other highlights, I would say, because this movie, let's be honest, the movie is first and foremost an action movie.
Yes.
I think when the trailers first came out, some people had this impression that it was like a horror type movie. It's really not a horror movie in any stretch.
There is a horror-esque scene.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
With the barn, which
That's
is really where most of the trailer was.
Yeah. Now, I mean, everything in the barn with him versus the army, that was more... That got into John Wick territory. It was like, holy shit. Like, this is a lot for one guy.
But also, let's just go off the fact that unlike the John Wick movies, because John Wick would have just went straight at all of them and somehow won barehanded versus 20 guns. Whereas,
because he's John Wick.
Whereas Santa Claus here literally uses the entire barn to his advantage. He kept it dark so that way they couldn't see him easily. He only went after 2 at a time. He used ice skates to decapitate one guy.
Holy shit. I was not expecting... I wasn't expecting this movie to be as brutal as it is. Now, I think apparently there's I don't know which version. I think the one on streaming is like the unrated version. Mm-hmm. But there's, I guess, what came to theaters might have been a PG-13 version, or was it rated R?
It was rated R.
Rated R. Okay, but there's even an unrated version beyond rated R. I think the one on streaming might be the unrated version. But yeah, this shit was brutal. The violence is the one thing that... Where the movie, I appreciate the gore because you want that, but then it does make it where it's like, okay, this is no longer like a kid-friendly Christmas movie.
Want to bet?
Other than Nick's future kids who will be watching Violent Night in the crib, I don't think this movie is appropriate for the children.
Kim and my kids, by the time they're 4, they would have already watched Pumpkinhead. Would have already watched Nightmare on Elm Street. Ooh. Would have already watched Friday the 13th. I guarantee you, I am not going to be a good father.
Don't show them a new beginning.
Oh, no.
Not for the violence. There's just too much porn in that movie.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't show them New Beginning even when they're adults just because of how shit that movie is.
Folks, don't buy into this renaissance of New Beginning being a good movie. People, I don't understand whether everybody's trying to make that into a cult classic. It's just,
you're actually kind of proving the point right there. Is your reaction. Yeah. They want the reaction of you sitting there getting on their case about it.
If you cut out some of the awkward porn scenes, that's more meaningful kills. Don't make Tommy Jarvis and a Jason Bourne, then maybe the movie would have been all right. But
I don't know if they just kept Tommy Jarvis as Jason Bourne. I mean, we get to the finale and he turns into a sniveling idiot.
He does. Jason, hello, Jason.
Now, if you kept him as Jason Bourne and actually fought, I would have been behind.
Well, then poor Roy wouldn't have a chance. So.
No.
Yeah, the violence in the movie is pretty over the top. And we love it because we're adults.
Yes.
And it's fun.
Kids would love it because it's flashy.
Well, the one thing the kids will love is kids like watching other kids destroy adults.
Oh, Home Alone scene.
This has some of this with that Home Alone scene, which is perfect because the way it's set up, it's like she's seen Home Alone recently in the movie.
Yep.
But then you get the feeling that the adults have seen Home Alone also. So they're like, they're not falling for the obvious trap, but then there's another trap beyond the obvious trap that catches them.
Which I just want to bring up. You know, you just pulled a nail out of your ass. What is your first reaction? Is your first reaction while standing under the ladder after knowing there are bowling balls coming down?
Yes.
Do you stare at it with the nail directly in front of your face?
No.
Or do you move the hell out of the way, wait about a few seconds for the bowling balls to stop coming, and then go up the ladder?
I actually abort the mission and go home. So.
Well, that would have been better, but no.
I'm like, listen, I don't know what kid I'm dealing with, but this seems worse than Kevin McAllister from Home Alone.
But yeah, Bjorn decides he's going to stare at the nail like he's never seen one before.
Yeah.
Amelia's thinking it was damn shock. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can only believe shock so much.
Well, as good as the setup is, I'll say this. And what's her face when she goes up into the attic?
Kira,
I mean, she does become like bumbling, goofy.
Yeah,
she's walking into the sticky ground and stuff, which clearly you can just look down the ground in front of you and see.
So
the
the sticky ground, I will give her because it's still the same color as the ground. What I don't give her is after she takes all the boots, she doesn't keep staring at the ground after. It's like, okay, you just stepped in something sticky. You literally ripped a piece of your scalp off. Your bone is showing. You're not going to continue looking at the ground to see a bunch of light bulbs there.
Yeah. Especially at that point, you realize that you have to be very cautious about every move you're making. You can tell you've been set up in like booby trap world. Now, should we address the weight being thrown at her? What the hell, man?
No, yeah, that for one, I want to know how that little girl got that set up so damn quick. Like Kira's sitting there looking at her while she's setting this up after the tennis ball, and I'm just like, excuse you.
Well, I think we surmised last time. I think there was like maybe a dummy weight or something.
Yeah, because you had the actor Morgan Steele, played by your favorite villain from Never Back Down.
Dude was he was great in Never Back Down. He deserved better hair. Maybe not.
Maybe not, because he was supposed to be the jackass, even though I kind of defend him a little bit.
I mean, in your opinion, right? He's like sort of not as bad of a guy as maybe we think.
Well, yeah, because at the same time, when everything starts going down, yeah, he's hiding behind the couch, even though he was already talking all this shit. But then again, they got guns. He doesn't. I'd probably be hiding behind the chair too, unless one of them got close enough. But no, when everything started going down, when he started running, the first words out of his mouth is, "They're going for the panic room. Go, Bertrude," telling the kid to run. I'm like, So he obviously cares about the kid, even though I doubt that's his son.
Yeah, I guess. One thing I should mention, how bad is his luck that the moment he escapes is the exact time that the
kill squad shows up.
The kill squad shows up. If he hadn't ran to them, he probably gets away. Nobody's following him.
Well, remember, they also thought that kill squad was there to save them.
Yeah, so he stops and talks to them, and they just machine gun his ass. But
notice how he didn't even scream no or anything. He just like, oh shit. It's like he knew he was dead, but instead of screaming like a little child, he's just like, damn it.
Well, again, because other than that, he was a successful escape. Other than that, he just ran into the wrong squad.
That was the other thing. When he did his escape, he went up, literally kicked Krampus down after he slapped Bertrude. So again, I hope I'm not defending some kind of guy who likes little kids.
What?
Well, notice how he did a lot of stuff for the kid, not a whole lot for the mom. Like he was up to defend the kid more than the mom. I don't know if it's because, kid being a kid he needs to defend what can't defend themselves.
Yeah. But okay, so when he throws himself out the window, he leaves. One of them's like, "Oh,
he's going to get help."
Another one's like, "He abandoned us."
Jean-Claude Van Dipshit just abandoned us.
We really don't know what he's doing. Is he actually just like running for his own life now, or does he like have some plan to help them though?
I want to say he had a plan, because at the same time when he did that, you can hear the snowmobiles coming. So of course they all think kill squad, because that's literally what Gertrude even said. That's my kill squad. So he's running to them to warn them what they're up against, and then he just gets shot to hell. He becomes Swiss cheese.
He's really the only innocent bystander. Well, on the
as
family
innocent
side.
as this character can be.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably a sleazebag actor. So,
well, no, he was given a really Oscar-worthy performance of pretending he cared about Alva.
That's true. Which I don't want to get in the details of why that is. So I don't know. Okay, now I will list what I feel are the weaknesses.
Oh gosh.
These are the things I would say, because obviously this is not we both enjoyed this movie, you more so than me. I acknowledge that it's a good, solid Christmas movie, but it's not infallible. It does have flaws, and sir, I will point them out to you right now.
Okay, I know one flaw. They killed Krampus.
That is a flaw. No, that was a great scene.
That was a fucking Passenger 57 bad boys money trained his ass.
The good guys fighting amongst each other, and then as a ploy to take out the villain, that always is fun to watch on screen. It was in Money Train, Bad Boys, Passenger 57, probably the first place to be credited.
I mean, I'm sure there was probably something earlier than that, but that's the earliest I can think of.
I mean, honestly, if we're in that situation, we probably would try that because, hey, why not? I mean, it works in movies.
Let's face it, real life, we'd probably just get shot.
Yeah, Krampus would have been like, all right, I'm just going to shoot one of them right now.
Right. Because think about it, he had a damn, like a 3-shooter.
Yeah.
As they were sitting there arguing, instead of letting them argue, just shoot one, turn, shoot the other, turn, shoot the other.
Yeah. So the weaknesses I have are the one of them is the mom and dad of Trudy.
You didn't like the mom? I can understand the dad. Even though the dad...
It's not that I didn't like her individually. I didn't care for their story.
Oh, okay.
And when they get together at the end, it doesn't feel earned. It doesn't feel like I care. It feels hollow. It feels like they're just coming together because why?
Well, let's face it. At the same time, the whole story was focused more on Santa fighting bad guys.
And that's the part of the movie that I love. But the family stuff didn't do it for me. And that walkie-talkie he gives Trudy,
it's a magic walkie-talkie.
I want one of those because I want if I was going to do a Christmas present, I would want that, or I'd want the damn voice changer from Scream 3, because those two were both freaking amazing. The human characters, especially the dad, I don't really care for them at all, and I think that his plot armor is that he's her father.
Let's face it.
If he wasn't her father, I think he could have been killed.
Now, let's face it. If the dad died, grandma most likely would have taken Trudy. And don't say, well, she's only the grandparent. Well, she's a grandparent with a lot of fucking money.
The grandma played by Beverly D'Angelo, who is also the wife in the National Lampoon's Vacation movies with Chevy Chase.
Oh, so she likes Christmas already.
She's fantastic in this movie. And she's a very forgiving mother because her son tried to steal $300 million.
Yeah, but let's also go for the fact that she stole an entire empire from her father.
Oh, not only that, but it gets into like, I guess, some idea of like they're like something with like the war too. Like, that's really dirty money basically.
Yeah.
So these are not good people.
No.
But
we already knew that.
But the family just being like, hey, yeah, we're gonna steal this money and just desert us. They're pretty forgiving. I mean, I guess they were in the Christmas spirit, but
nope. Again, the mom was actually pretty impressed by it because let's face it, you see this guy, the way he acts, the way he talks, the way he does everything, you wouldn't think he would have any kind of spine to do something like that.
Her being impressed was just bad writing. In real life, it wouldn't be, oh, you stole $300 million? I'm impressed. It'd be like, you son of a bitch.
Well, she was impressed. Remember,
that was just convenient.
She literally gave him the whole monologue of, look, we are bad people. You're just showing why you're closer to me than your own sister. Let's face it, the sister wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, that's a Hallmark movie moment. No, don't do it.
Movies.
Don't defend it. Yeah, I don't see you watching Lifetime Hallmark movies. Get out of here.
I used to watch them, but usually my mom was watching them too.
So I don't love the human stuff. And then even the Trudy stuff with Santa Claus, it's okay.
Hey, well,
but it's very...
That was the heart of the movie,
oh, my God. Again, it's just... It's not heart, it's Hall. As in Hallmark.
Heart.
It's generic.
That is showing...
It's very generic Christmas stuff.
How else are we going to get Santa to reclaim his love for Christmas?
Yeah, but totally speaking, that feels like a moment for kids, even though kids can't watch this movie.
You want to bet?
No.
When my niece is 5, I will get her to watch this movie.
And for me, on the rewatches, the action is still fantastic and holds up, but those slower moments like drags the movie down on rewatches. You want to skip past.
Well, you kind of need the slower moments, otherwise we get fucking John Wick style movie, and I can't stand those.
John Wick 4 is fantastic. I don't care what you say.
Not for 30 minutes of that.
Well, this movie starts to get that feel a little bit towards the end. I feel
Well,
like
there's only 4 fight scenes this whole movie.
yeah, but it does start to feel bloated at the end. It was starting to wear out its welcome a little bit. This movie should not be almost 2 hours. It should be like an hour and a half.
Seriously, there was 4 fights, I guess 5 fights the whole movie.
Yeah.
Whereas John Wick is literally nothing but a fight scene.
Well, John Wick 4 needs to lose about a half an hour also. It shouldn't be 2.5 hours. You shouldn't be 3. That's a 3 hour long movie.
I was about to say that wasn't no 2.5.
but I'm not gonna call this. This is not like.
It is better than John Wick.
No. Not
Yes.
at all. No way.
Yes.
Different movies.
No.
But the substance here is not better than the substance in John Wick per se.
And you know what? The reason
This is shallow substance.
And you want to know why I'm even bringing up John Wick? Because
why
it's
are
the
we talking
same
about this?
freaking company.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, it's probably the same. Yeah, the same fight team and shit too, probably.
Yeah, so guess what? I am going to compare them because they're the same company.
Much better fight scenes than John Wick, though.
No, much better fight scenes here.
Keanu Reeves can just do stuff that David Harbour can't do.
There's only... Well, that's fair.
There's no way you can watch these fight scenes and then if we play them side by side.
But let's also reflect that David Harbour is not a martial artist.
So 3 things. 3 weaknesses, in my opinion. The parents, the sentimental moments don't hold up on rewatches, and then the movie's a little bit too long. You could have cut out maybe like 10, 15 minutes.
You know what? I'll give you that one.
Because it does start to get a little bit long at the end. Now,
Because for me, I think the part they could have easily cut out was the snowmobile chase scene.
yeah.
Like, they could have just cut that out, have them... And then have the final fight happen at the nativity scene.
Yeah.
You just have to find a way to make a chimney somewhere.
Well, again, even then, they wanted to involve the parents, like, getting in the action, stuff like that. And it's just like, I don't really care about them fighting against the soldier dudes.
Well, that's also... I also kind of wish that the soldier dude would have just had more time beating the hell out of the dad.
Yeah.
I mean, because what was that whole thing? He literally sat there... When the soldier dude was coming at him, he sat there and screamed as the soldier dude grabbed the gun, and he sat there just shaking his hand like, I'm going to hit you. He's like, hit him or you get hit. Okay.
Yeah, it's true. So, but those are all like basically those minor complaints aside, they don't detract from the overall effectiveness of the movie. The main thing is the movie is fun. It's a fun action movie.
Yes.
And it does for adults during Christmas time. Of course, a lot of times you're hitting the head with like Christmas Story playing 24 hours a day, Home Alone 2, all the kids' Christmas movies. You do need escape as an adult, and this is a great adult escape along with like Bad Santa and Santa Sleigh, even though nobody seems to like Santa Sleigh. But
Violent Night is like Hooters. It is family friendly.
no.
Yes.
No. And you can find better wings elsewhere.
No.
Yeah, definitely can.
I mean, you can, but that's...
So anyways, yeah, but the strengths are the action scenes and David Harbour and John Leguizamo. You can't go wrong with them.
And whoever the actor is that played Krampus, because he was hilarious.
Absolutely. And one of the problems with the sequel is going to be like, you really can't bring back some of that cast because they're dead. So
if anything, well, yeah, but you know, something tells me they're going to somehow bring Trudy back. Even though I feel like her story is done at this point. What else are they going to do with that character? Have her in another situation like this?
I don't think you can bring her back because, again, like, that was a unique situation, but she's not going to get, like, what's the odds of her being, like, in a situation like that again?
Actually, I got it. What they're going to do if they go on with a sequel instead of a prequel, what they do is Santa is her wish for that Christmas is to ride along with Santa. It's really Ride Along 3, but instead of Ice Cube and Kevin Hart, it is David Harbour and whoever the actress is that played Trudy.
Yeah.
And as they're delivering presents, they end up in a situation that involves action. In which case, David Harbour also teaches Trudy how to use Skull Crusher, even though she couldn't lift that shit.
Well, she's a future badass for sure. So. she has killing in her spirit. So
I mean, she definitely has torture in her mind.
Oh, let me mention also one great thing in the movie was him having the gnarly list and using that to kind of trace the bad guys.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. Also, that was a good use of.
But I will say, when Jimmy looks at it, it says the first thing that pops up is killed his best friend. Yeah. He does tell the story of why he doesn't like Christmas.
He's the little kid from Better Watch Out, so grown up. So.
But yeah, he has a whole story about why he doesn't like Christmas. You know, his father accidentally killed his old man. What if that old man was actually his best friend.
Ah. Yeah.
So like, and he didn't really. He told the story. He may have told the story as some kind of repentance, I guess. Some kind of this is why I don't like Christmas, but he still changed a few events.
Right. I can see that. That makes sense.
Or maybe one of the heists that happened, one of his heists that happens is just went wrong and he needed to kill his friend to get away. Well, I've already gone through what I like about the movie.
Yeah, not necessarily final thoughts, but
I think it's more for the fact that this movie, even though I did say a few minutes can be cut out, it does not feel boring to me. That is the best thing about this movie.
100%.
And as much as I am looking forward to the sequel, I'm also will not be mad if a sequel never does come. So
Too much money involved.
Yeah. So overall, I'm giving this movie a 3 out of 4. It is fun. It's fun to watch. It has some funny moments. John Leguizamo actually plays a pretty amazing villain. Then again, you know, when I was watching this movie, my first thirds were already better than Mortal Kombat fight scenes. You know what? This company should do Mortal Kombat 2. Because they're good at fight scenes.
Oh, yeah. Anything to, I mean, I had problems with the fight scenes, the script. That first Mortal Kombat movie, I was just not a fan of.
No, neither am I. But if we give Mortal Kombat 2 to this company,
Beautiful.
fight scenes would be much better.
Hell yeah. I'm just going to very quickly also give it 3 stars. Like I said, I have some minor complaints about it that came up on the rewatches. But I think the rewatchability is going to always come from John Leguizamo and David Harbour and the action scenes. And I think this is one of those movies you can watch every Christmas and have a good time with. So not as high on it as Nick, but still relatively high on it.
And as always, you don't have to go home. You do have to go home. Pop in another Christmas movie, because I'm sure a lot of y'all are doing 12 nights of Christmas where every day you're watching a new Christmas movie. Put this on your list. Well, if you're Vic, don't put it on for Christmas Day because you'll most likely have kids. If you are like me, put it on Christmas Day because it'll be amazing to watch with your kids.
Well, I got a suggestion. Watch Better Watch Out, because that's our next week's episode, and then you'll know what we're talking about.
That is also fair.
Yep. All right, folks. Until next week.
You don't have to go home. Eat chicken nuggets.
You already said that.
I know. Peace.